Okay. So imaginary numbers. What letter are we using to represent imaginary numbers? I. Capital or small?
Small.
Small. Don't write big I, because that's really you, okay? Or I. So small I, lowercase I, it's always, what is it equal to? Yeah, square root of a -1. So now, if you have a square root of a -1, you can actually write I, x equals to I, okay? So let's look at these ones. Square root of a -2. We need to simplify this down to square root of -2 is technically -1 times 2. Is that equivalent? Yes. When you have multiple numbers being multiplied under a radical, you can separate them. So the same thing as -1 under 1 radical times the square root of a 2. -1 under a radical or square root of -1. We must now change that to I. So this is I rad 2. And that is what we need to do every time we are solving and we see a -1 under a radical. That leaves us to square root of -3. What does that simplify down to? I root 3. You are correct. Okay. How about square root of a -4? Okay, so let's work this out. Ready? Would you agree I can break it down to -1 times 4, which is really -1 times rad 4. From now on, starting 30 seconds ago, if you see a square root of -1, we must rewrite it as I. But we know exactly what square root of 4 is. It's 2. But class, we write it like this, 2I. Okay? Just like 2x, just like 2y. Okay. All right. Then let's run through this very quickly now that we get the logistic. Square root of a -9. 3 i's. Okay. Square root of a -16. Yeah, that's me today. Okay. Square root of a -25. And last one. 11i. All right. Okay. So do we leave a square root of a -1 ever? No. All right. Next, let's simplify these out. Simplify square root of a -20. Just like what you guys already know. Break this down under the square root. What times what? -1 times 20. Okay? We can break the negative. Would you agree that I can break 20 down to what? Okay. I can break this down to square root of 4 times square root of 5. Would that be okay? Anything we can simplify? What's square root of -1? I. What's square root of 4? 2. What's square root of 5? Square root of 5. So how we write our answer is going to be 2i square root of 5. The radical is going to be in the back. The I is always going to be behind a whole number. All right, 2. Negative something in the front. There's no number in the front. That's similar to negative what? -1. So technically, class, you can even write this as a -1 times square root of 63. Square root of 63 is -1 times what? 63. Well, 63, can I break that down to nice square number in there somewhere? 9 and 7. So this is really 9 times 7. When you have numbers under one big, ginormous radical, can I technically break them smaller radicals? Yep. So -1 in the front times square root of -1 times square root of 9 times square root of 7. Any one of those we can simplify? Yes, square root of -1 is I. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 7 is? Red 7. How do we write it in a negative? How many i's? 3 i's. Negative 3 i's times square root of 7. All right. Whoa, you can multiply i's. Yes, I behaves like a variable. So when you multiply variables, what do you guys do with the exponents? Add them. So normally what we like to do is we like to put all the numbers together and all the i's together before we combine. Well, 8 times negative 3 is normal. What's that? Negative 24. I times I becomes? I squared. No, that's not the final answer. What is I always? Nathaniel, do you need to move up, hon? We have a spot right here that's closer. Okay. So here's negative 24. Something square, right, y'all? I, it's what? A square root of a negative 1. So what happens when you have a square root and you square it? It does, right? Doesn't it cancel each other out? So if you cancel the square root with the power of 2, what's left inside? It's really just negative 1. So your final answer is 24. Okay. So I is a square root of negative 1. What's I squared then? I square is not 1, but I square is then? That's right. Can you guys see why it is negative 1? Okay. Because I square is negative 1, because think about it. I is always the square root of what? Negative 1, and I have to square it. So that's where the radical and the 2 will cancel. They're inverse of each other, so they cancel each other out. Okay. So if you see I squared from now on, you can actually go straight to what? Negative 1. Okay. Next one. What do you think you tend to do on example 4? Yeah, but that's not the way that you should go about. If you see a negative under the radical, you have to write it in terms of negative 1 times a positive 10. What you want to do is simplify your i's first. Can I break this down to negative 1 radical times square root of 10 times square root of negative 1 times square root of 90. But 90, can I break that down to any square numbers? 9 times square root of 10, okay? Well, what's square root of negative 1? I. Can I do anything with square root of 10? No, but how many of those do I have? 2, okay. I got square root of 10 times square root of 10. That's really technically what? Would you agree that's technically 10 for those 2 guys? Yes or no? Okay. Then what's next one? What's this one? Another I. What's square root of 9? 3. You're right. So I'm gonna hold it right here. Yes, Jodhia.
Why don't you do anything to the
10. Oh, because I already know. You have 2 square root of 10. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
You have 2 square root of 10, which is square root of 10 times square root of 10, which is technically really square root of 100. Well, what's square root of 100? It's back down to 10. So when you see 2 identical square root, you can immediately...
Yeah, but like before you got to the second row of 10, like, you know how you broke up the 90?
Mm-hmm. You could, but why? You could do that if you don't know, but then that will create more work, right? Then wouldn't you agree that this would be 2 times 2 times 5 times 5? Which is really, again, 2 times 5, which is 10. That creates more work. So if you know there's 2 identical numbers, you can just simplify the radical. Remember, square root. Let's get back to the square root. Square root means how many identical numbers would you need? 2. So if you see 2 identical numbers already, you can definitely simplify the radical. Okay? All right, here we go. Should we put the numbers together? 10 times 3 times I times I. What's 10 times 3? 30. What's I times I? I squared. Yes. Someone said, oh, I'm just going to go straight to -1. Which your final answer would be? -30. Good job. Now, why would multiplying them first be wrong? Let's say that you went and multiplied first. What's -10 times a -90 first, straight up? Positive 900. Would you guys agree? Square root of a positive 900 will give you a positive 30. But your final correct answer is -30. So if there's ever a negative under the radical, you have to simplify the i's first. Next, let's fill out this chart right here. Powers of I. I to the 1. Can't really simplify that. That's maintained as just I. I to the second. Now we know I to the second is -1. Oh my. I to the third. Ooh. What's I to the third? -1i. Okay. Would you agree that we would break it up to I squared times what? I. By the way, is that going to give me I to the third back? Good. What's I squared? Always -1 times I. So final answer is -I. Okay. I'm going to hold right there. How about I to the fourth? How would you simplify that? I squared times I squared. What's I squared always? -1 times -1, which is 1. Amazing. I to the fourth is 1. Yes, you can from now on go straight. If you see I to the fourth, you can write down 1. Okay. Let's try this one. I to the fifth. What are you going to do? Break it down to? Oh, break it down to I to the 4 times I. Would you guys agree with Santana? What's I to the 4th always? 1. 1 times I. So this is I. Oh, man. I know, right? How is that? That's so amazing. All right. I to the 6th, I to the 7th, I to the 8th. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes in teams to work that out, and then I'm just going to call you guys to give me the final answer. So 3 minutes starts now.
Just be one. Are you sure?
Oh yeah.
I do the 4th always.
Because I 4th is 1.
I 4th is 1.
Yeah, why did it just be 1?
Yeah, I 4th is 1 and then I 2 is -1. Those together would be 6.
For I 7, I 4 times I 4 is 1. And then 8 is 1, 4 times 1, Oh no, we're not Are you doing your revision test?
Okay, I'm shuffling the card. You guys ready? No. No? That's okay. We'll help you. Okay, so this is I to the 6. Okay, I'll call 3 people. Sophia C, I to the 6. What did you get? -1. Jake, I to the 6. What did you get? Okay. Brian, I to the 6. Okay. Let's see how you guys did it. How did you guys do it? What did you do? Oh, I love it. I to the 4th times I square. Would you agree that if you don't feel like using I to the 4th, can I use I to the 2nd times I to the 2nd times I to the 2nd 3 times? Beautiful. All right, Brian, continue, hon, with your method. You're right. Good job. Okay. I to the 2nd. If you guys use I to the 2nd, what's I to the 2nd always? -1. Wouldn't you agree that's -1 3 times? Is that still the same? Yep. A negative number to an odd power is always what? Negative. A positive number to an odd power is always positive. A positive number to an even power is always positive. Now, if a negative number to an even power is what? Positive. Okay, so there's only one case when it's going to be a negative, when it's a negative number to an odd power. Okay. All right, I to the 7. Next 3. Riley, what did you get, hon? -I. Riley said. Grace, what did you get, hon? Maggie? Okay. Did you guys break it? How did you guys break it down? Good. Yes. Yes, you are right. Good job. Or if you choose to, can you guys break up pairs of i's? Right? I square times I square times I square. How many i's is that already? 6. And then there's one last one. True or false? You can always break it up in pairs of i's. Okay? So this is -1 times -1 times -1 times I. Oops. And then Riley is right. She gets a -I. All right. Last one. Hun, what did you get for I to the 8th?
That one I have no idea.
No idea. Did you consult with your team? 1. Okay, Hannah, what did you get, hon? Alan, what did you get? 1. How did you guys break that up? How many pairs of I square is that? 4. Would you agree that's I square times I square times I square times I square? By the way, if it's 4 times, could I technically write it like this? Now pay attention to this. I square is always what? -1. So it's -1. So, hun, -1 to the 4th power. That's okay. Take your time. 1. Negative number to a positive, negative number to an even power is always +1. Okay? Yes?
Couldn't you just do I to the 4th times I to the 4th?
That's right. And that's +1 times a +1.
Yeah.
Totally. You can break it up however you like. All right. Now, what if I give you some ginormous powers? We're going to do 8 first. Ready? I'm going to do 8 and 7 with you, and then we're going to leave 6 and 5 for you guys to try. Okay? Okay. Shh. I to the power of 143. Yes, on your exam, I may give you I to the power of 1,427. Okay? Are you going to sit here and write like I to the 4th like that many times, or I squared that many times? No. So first, we want to rewrite this as I to 142 times I. Let me ask you, is that going to give me the same exact number of i's as the original question? Right. But then from here, 142, I can break that down to pairs of i's. How many pairs of i's can I make from 142? 71 pairs. Why are we breaking down to pairs of i's? Because I squared is always what?
1. I mean, -1.
-1. So technically, you guys can break it up to I to the 4th, sets of I to the 4th, or sets of I to the 2nd, okay? But usually, I to the 2nd is easier to divide. As long as the number is even, you can divide by 2 nicely, okay? So, I to the 142 is I squared to the what power again? 71 times I. Well, what's I squared? -1 to the 71 times I. What's -1 to an odd exponent? It's a -1 times I, which is -I. Look at that. All of those i's became just a -I. I'm going to hold it right there so you can ask me questions.
I worked it out too. Why'd you do I2?
Because I2 is always what? -1. It's easier to break it into pairs. I'm sorry, Naomi. I'm sorry, one more time? 71. Okay, good question. Guys, what happened to 71? Think about it. Think about this. Are you going to sit here and write I squared 71 times? That is just way too much work. So, if you have -1, think about this, -1 to the 3rd power is what? I can write that out 3 times, right? -1 times -1 times -1, which is what? -1, right? What happened to -1 to the 4th power? Is that +1? Yes, technically, can I write -1 out 71 times?
Yes.
Are you going to have time for that?
No.
No. All right. So this number to an odd power will give you a negative answer. Okay, but 1 times 1 times 1, it just is going to be 1. Did I answer your question? Yep. All right. 7. I to the 48th power. What are you going to break that down to? I to the, how many pairs of i's can you make?
24.
Ah, so see how pairs are easy to make? I squared to the 24th power. What is I square always? Always. Sophia N. Yes. Class, technically, can I sit here and write -1 out 24 times? Yes, but you're going to have time for that? No. So, what's -1 to 24th power? 1. Slater, I'm sorry, you have a...
Couldn't you just do like I to 6 and make it -1 and then do -1 to the 8th power?
Hold on, let me write. Okay, one more time, Slater, so I can... I to the...
I to the 6 equals -1 and then do -1 to the 8th power.
So like that?
I mean, yeah, I just solved for -1 and then I put it in the 8th power.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I to the 6, lots of students are not going to be able to memorize I to the 6 or I to the 4th. Lots of students are going to have an easier time knowing that I squared is -1. Yeah, but yes, that will be correct, Slater. Did you guys hear what Slater said? Yes, either one, you're going to get the same exact answer. All right, you are going to try 5 and 6 on your own, and then we're calling you. You have 2 minutes. Go.
What? 5 is -5. You could do I to 7 less, or I to 7 multiplied by I to the 8. Because it's I did a 7, then I did an 8, and I did 15, and multiplying together. So, what I did for, I did 29, because I did a 7.
You know, when like a negative odd exponent, I don't
Well, think, just don't try to memorize. Think about it in a logical sense, right? So you have a -1 to the 6th power. That's kind of safe. So don't try to memorize it, just write that down, and then that will pass. Oh my god!
Anything times, like, what would that be?
That was you.
Yes.
I don't know if I did this part right.
That's okay, we're gonna go over it right now. Just talk to your team. Yeah. In the bin. All right, here we go. 5. Oh, over there, Maggie. My apologies. You guys all done with 5? Okay. Chris, your answer to example 5, please.
That should be -5.
Negative I, Chris says. Alyssa, your answer to example 5, please. Okay. Emily, your answer to negative 5, please.
negative I.
Do you guys agree?
Yes.
How did you guys break that down? What did you guys do? What? Example 5. I to the?
I to the 14 times I.
Okay. I to the 14 times I. I'm going to wait for you guys to not have side conversations. And then, Chris, I to the 14, did you break that into pairs?
Yes.
Yeah?
I squared to the 7
Good.
and times I.
Good. And I squared would be?
-1 to the 7 times I. Then it would be -I.
Very good. Good job. All right, last answer is example number 6. Kenzie, what did you end up with on example 6, hon?
I did 5 to the 28 times I.
Good job.
And I did I squared to the 14
Beautiful.
times I.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got 1 times I.
Oh, so this is -1 to the 14. Is that what you said? Okay, and then that's 1. You're right.
1 times I, which is I.
You guys agree, Kenzie?
Yes.
Perfect. That concludes our day. It's